Root hard. Show respect for the fans around you, but don't be a jerk. This is Corey, and this is the Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob. Is that the thing that they announced?
Yeah. And you know what? It's so the first Ravens preseason game was on Thursday.
Go Ravens.
Go Ravens.
Yes. Won that on a last-minute drive from first-year Raven Bryn Renner.
Yeah. I kept yelling, like, go Jeremy Renner!
By the way, we've officially reached the point where people who started just making up names, their kids are now adults. That's where we're at. Bryn spelled B-R-Y-N.
Yeah.
Yeah. His parents, he was born in, 1994, 5, maybe
I'm
6.
sure.
And so, his parents were just like, let's throw some consonants down and we'll come up with a name.
It's only a matter of time before Cadillac Baker is taking over the NFL.
Jesus Christ. Now, and you've joked about that for years, and I think that there's a horror that we need to speak to Ray about that actually being an option for
about
a name.
potential names.
Like, you need to understand that if he sneaks away with that birth certificate, you're coming back with a Cadillac. You're coming home with a Cadillac.
Well, really, it's only it's only been a thing to annoy my father more than anything.
He doesn't like the. Well, I mean, of course, he doesn't like that as a name,
right?
So, yeah,
but yeah, it'll be fun.
Yeah,
one of these days when somebody gives me the rubber stamp to have children.
I don't know if you know this. You don't actually have to have
when
approval.
I go to the Children's Commission.
No, there is none. You can just have them.
Oh, really?
There's no licensing at all.
Oh. Whew.
It's like the American electoral process. Just, we got nobody else, so I'm going to have to pick one of these two people to be president.
Well, I think I'm going to vote for a third-party candidate. Go ahead, throw your vote away!
I saw an interesting infographic that had, 100 people standing there, and then there was 20 that were like, I'm voting Republican. 20 that said, I'm voting Democrat. And then there was, 60 people that were like, well, I'd vote for an independent, but I don't want to waste my vote. And I was like... You're missing the whole point.
I had an idea that I may or may not pitch to the Ravens. I don't know if I can ever get in touch with the person who makes this decision or whether or not they'll take my call.
Right.
But basically you have to buy season tickets are the majority of the stadium.
Right, yeah.
People with PSLs and season tickets and such. So I think as a sign of respect to them, say your season tickets for the year cost $2,000, just throwing out a round number.
Yeah.
So the 8 games that you go to that aren't season ticket or that aren't preseason games, you would charge a little bit more for those.
Right.
And then just make the ticket price on the preseason tickets like $10.
Right.
Just make a token gesture. You're still getting $2,000 for the entire season.
Right.
But the 2 preseason games that come with it
Not
are 1/10 the price of what they normally are.
Right.
Just to make you feel like, oh, okay, so I'm not wasting
to not go to those games.
Right.
Yeah.
Make you feel better at least. The NFL needs to do something about the preseason because this is terrible.
Yeah.
And I have an idea.
Go.
I have long worried that the Ravens are going to have to play in London at some point.
Right.
Because they just keep upping the number of games that they play in London every year, trying to make that happen.
Yeah, how many is it this year?
I think it's 4 games that are playing in London.
Ugh.
But so far, the Ravens haven't had to make that trip.
Right, yeah.
So good.
Well, and the teams that are going there are the Lions, and they're like, listen, jet lag's not going to really affect your play. It's okay.
But the one that the thing that I dislike is that if the Ravens are the home team in London,
right,
then I lose the ability to watch a Ravens game,
right,
because they're in London now.
And by the way, if you have PSLs, you've already paid for that game. So
well, you've paid for the right to pay for that
right,
game.
Yeah,
you don't actually pay for that game. They'll just charge you for $9.
No, but you pay for the right to pay for that.
Yeah. So I suggest, just to make it a little bit more competitive, any team that goes 0-4 in the preseason is automatically in the lottery to have to play a home game in the regular season in London.
Keep it. Like the All-Star game, make it a little
but just
something
like
to lose.
I would very much like them to just basically say fuck London.
But the NFL's trying to encourage them.
Oh, I know. Yeah. But
I don't know if you know how this works.
I would just like it if the players it was just like, I don't want to go to fucking London.
They spent millions of dollars on NFL Europe just to fold NFL Europe. I don't know if you understand how this works. They're trying to spread the NFL.
Yeah, it doesn't. How well is it going so far?
Not great.
Yeah. 0-4, you go to London.
Here's the thing: it's like the rest of the world is like, this is a very violent sport. I don't understand it. Now, here's the thing: if you watch rugby or cricket or soccer, where people headbutt each other, also violent sports, it's the idea of putting on the pads and the helmet that they're like, whoa. It's the American way. You're preparing for war, and thus there must be something bad about it.
Yeah.
That apparently it's bad. Yeah, it doesn't catch on.
The only thing worse than a NFL preseason game is the NFL. Okay, so here's an analogy for like the SAT people. NFL preseason is to NFL regular season as Tom Brady's sketch artist is to Tom Brady in real life.
Right.
Like, that's how horrible one experience is to the other.
Oh, God. Seeing that drawing this week made me laugh, though. I'm like, how bad do you have to... Like, that's the girl who's, been getting by in her job, and then she's shit. I'm not qualified for this job.
I saw her on Good Morning America.
Yeah.
Like, she had, like, a quick, they basically just brought her in, and she's like, what the fuck did you do? And
right.
she was just like, sorry. But, she explained, like, listen, they could settle. Like, they could just basically walk in and settle, and I have to have a sketch.
Right, so
I only have, like, a minute to put this together.
Right.
And when you're a beautiful person, there's a lot more detail that makes you a beautiful person. So, usually these things aren't scrutinized that much.
Right.
I'm sorry. And they're just like, do you know who Tom Brady is? And she's like, no. I had to Google him after this started going off, and I was just like, oh, how enlightened it must be to not know who Tom Brady is.
God, it must be a good life, right? But I imagine
just
that...
like you walk up to her and you're just like, oh, God, fucking Kardashian nonsense again. Who? Oh, my God. You're so lucky.
Can we switch places, please?
I wish I didn't know.
But can you imagine, like, she's there for a traffic ticket, like, 15 years ago?
Kylie Jenner turned 18. Who?
Who?
Yeah.
And I imagine, like, 15 years ago, she walked into court for a traffic ticket, and she was just, like, going to keep herself busy with a notepad, like a sketch pad, and they're like, oh, you're the new girl? Yeah, go ahead, come on up here. And she's like, no, I'm just here for and they're like, okay, here's your $1,000 for your work today. And she's like, oh, okay, yeah. And she just started showing up. And it's the first time she got caught. Yeah, first time she got caught by somebody who was actually
nobody's asked her the hard-hitting question of, is she actually a licensed court stenciler?
And now she's like, oh shit, no. Well,
So you're the one who drew the picture of Tom Brady in this courtroom sketch. Yeah, I'm accredited and everything. No, that wasn't even the question.
Wasn't going to ask you that.
But what was it like to see Tom Brady? Yeah, well, so I was saying, this is literally my job. I
do this every day.
I have a W-2 and everything. It's not cash under the table.
I have a license, not on me, but I have one. I could bring it to you.
I mean, I could provide paperwork. We'll just, just call me. Just call my people, and I'll call your people.
So, obviously, I'm hoping that everybody knows when I say Ferguson what that means. But last year, a young man named Michael Brown got shot by a police officer.
I thought that was Tamir Rice.
No, that was Ohio.
Oh,
that was the 14.
Wasn't it Eric Gardner?
No, that was the 31-year-old in New York.
Freddie Gray?
That was the 24-year-old in Baltimore.
Oh.
We could do this all day.
Yeah, I could.
Which of the 1,196 people last year do you want to talk about?
Right.
Or the 750 at last count this year do we want to talk about?
We're a
little more than halfway.
8 months into the year, and we've already eclipsed, basically. We've gone over the count, basically.
Yes, and that's because last year's count...
By the way, just a fun number for you guys.
yeah.
Baltimore City has already eclipsed the total number of murders that they had in 2014. So, enjoy!
Yay!
We
can do it!
Because of 3 months of violence, we've already eclipsed the number that we had last year.
And we're on July was the worst month in 42 years.
Yeah.
June was the worst month in 42 years before that.
Yeah.
And August is already on track to be another horrible month. There was like eight murders over the weekend last weekend. So
I'm gonna love it when Stephanie Rawlings Blake has that press conference that every single mayor at some point has had over the last 15 years, where it's just like, listen. We only had 28 murders this month, so we're on the right path.
we're on the way back up.
Yeah. If it's 28 this month, the next month it's going to be 20, and eventually it's going to be 0.
Yeah,
because that's how trends work.
That's how it works. Yeah, obviously. So the Ferguson police decided to commemorate the 1-year anniversary of Michael Brown's death by shooting 2 people during a march that commemorated the shooting of Michael Brown. Now, there's been some evidence that one of the young men who was shot also had a gun. Grain of salt. To the video I've seen, it doesn't look like the same guy. I don't know that it is the same guy. But Fox News said it, so obviously fair and balanced. We have to assume that that's true.
Yeah.
So the whole town blew up again. And they had another couple of nights of violence, and then they had a couple of nights of peace. And the American people's attention span astounds me.
Yeah.
Like, CNN was here for 7 days, but then gone.
Right.
It just boiled over and they were gone. Same thing just happened in Ferguson. They're already out.
Really?
Yeah. There are some people that are still there, but, so...
Did you hear about the officer on Facebook with his Michael Brown bonus?
No. God, I don't even want to know.
Some cop said, I'm using my Michael Brown bonus, my annual Michael Brown bonus, to go bicycling at a bed and breakfast with my wife. Basically insinuating that every single year for the rest of the time, Ferguson is going to blow up with people protesting, and he's going to get a lot of overtime.
So he's going to go vacation.
So he's getting a large chunk of money that he normally wouldn't have.
Right.
Because every single year there's going to be a protest, and he's going to take that money and use it for a bicycling trip and bed and breakfast with his wife.
And we get the country that we are willing to put up with. I mean, it is what it is. But on the plus side, the federal government's taking back their armored trucks, so they won't have that next year.
And instead, they're just going to go right to the, I don't know.
Guns. Yeah. Can we take back the M16s? That'll probably help too. But, yeah, so... In typical fashion, there was a protest, there was some shots fired, and then the police responded, and then the armored trucks came out, and then the next night there was a curfew, and the people said, fuck your curfew, and then so the armored trucks came out, and then the tear gas came out.
Do you think they would have learned from our...
You would think. You would think that there's a learning curve at some point, that you pick up something, but there just isn't. They're just not learning anything from anyone. So they just outlast, and... When you ask why people keep getting shot by police, this is what happens. But to be fair, and I just want to say, I have not changed my path. There are good cops and there are bad cops, and this is just bad policing. And
I don't blame officers.
No, this is bad policy on the part of.
This is just bad. It's like playing a game that's rules are fucked up.
Yeah,
like.
Well, Ferguson got a new police chief, and he said, we will not be bringing out SWAT units. And so St. Louis County was like, okay, we will. Like, they show up with their SWAT units.
Right.
Like, we haven't learned anything.
Yeah.
He has improved his community outreach. And he was doing a press conference when the shots started getting exchanged. And he still said no. Like, we'll armor our officers, but we're not going to bring out vehicles and stuff like that. And St. Louis County said, well, we can't not do that.
Yeah.
We can't not fire tear gas at protesters. We can't not beat them with batons when they step into the street.
Yeah.
Come on, man. That's not how we're going to do this. So.
Have you seen the litany of people with the All Lives Matter posts on Facebook all this week too?
Yes. Yeah. And here's the thing. I saw what I thought was an apt another infographic that had a house burning, and then 3 neighbors on either side of that house. And the guy whose house was burning was trying to put out the fire, and the guys next to him were also dousing their houses with hoses, saying all houses matter. And I think that's an apt descriptor. Yes, all lives do matter. Right now, we're focusing on the lives that are being taken. Can't we do that?
I found an even more apt picture.
Yeah.
It was Martin Luther King doing his "I Have a Dream" speech.
Yeah.
And the word bubble just said, "I have a dream." And then there was another one at the bottom that said, "All dreams matter."
Right.
Like...
It's... I don't know... I try... Somebody asked me why I waste my time arguing with people. And the thing is that I think you have to engage at all points. Because to not engage is to basically say you're right in some respects. And to some people, they say, if I say this and they don't say something back, that means I must be right. And I don't want people to think they're right.
Is it right or is it wrong? And if it's wrong, then you have to do what you can. I mean, I'm
never going to change their mind.
Yeah.
I can accept that I will never change their mind, but I can point out that you are factually incorrect and morally, on most respects, incorrect.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but there's 4 superheroes who I don't imagine are going to be doing much superheroing for a while.
Who's that?
The Fantastic Four. We touched on it last week.
Yeah. And it did just as horribly as we thought.
Well, no, because we sort of talked about it in a... We've sort of done this 2 weeks in a row, not on purpose, because I would feel terrible. I think I've said this during the Pixels conversation. I would feel terrible if I released a movie and I spent all this time on it and, so many people put work into it, and then there's some 2 shitheads in a basement doing a podcast talking about how much I suck,
Right. Especially if they didn't see it, because I didn't see it.
Yeah. As the week progressed.
It became a story because of the director.
Well, yeah, we touched on that. On Thursday, prior to the movie being released, Josh Trank, the director of Fantastic Four, tweeted and then quickly deleted. By quickly deleted, I mean like after 900 people had retweeted it.
Right. And by the way, when you put something on the internet, it's never deleted. Yeah. So
all it takes is one person to go like screenshot, and then it's done, and you're gone. I don't have the tweet right in front of me, but it was somewhere along the lines of Fantastic Four. I had a visionary approach for Fantastic Four. Too bad you're never going to see my version of it.
Right.
And then deleted, obviously, because that's going to be bad for business.
Right.
And wow, did the shit really explode on this one?
Yeah.
And the other part that of that, which I find hilarious, is that, like, I know that it's happening.
Yeah.
I know that anytime I Google anything unusual, I probably end up on a list.
Yeah.
But then every once in a while I have to, I'm writing, and I'm just like, how do I make a bomb out of a Bic pen?
I'm going on a list. Here we go.
I'm writing a story about how some guy makes, jerry rigs a Bic pen. I'm writing a new MacGyver. And I just need to know how it happened, so I Google it, and then all of a sudden I end up on a list, and then at some point I'm going to end up in a room, beat half to death, with a swinging light. Just like, why are you trying to figure out how to make Bic pen bombs? And I'd be like, I'd like to have my attorney present. Boom!
I got your attorney right here. Clock.
The Right Honorable Mr. Fist. All right, well, I think we did good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good.
Well, if you would like more, otheanthem.com. Seeing what we're up to. Seeing our latest tricks. otheanthem.com. Corey at otheanthem.com. Oh The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, YouTube, and the listener line. 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
It's 443-219-7595.
And you can find me on all your social networks at Robert N. Cheek. Make sure you check out robertncheek.com. You can buy my books there. And you can find all my different websites, foundingthefuture.us, deaddrop.com, and everything else for me there.
Buy Rob's books.
Buy my books. And I did see a nice uptick in the movement insurrection this week. By every couple of tweets I was going on Ferguson, I'd be like, by the way, totally talked about this in my book, The Movement Insurrection, available on Amazon. So
Yeah, so you're another one of those people trying to profit off the...
I'm not trying to profit. What I'm trying to do is spread my message. The
Yeah.
book is very much about my message, and I'm saying this is what's about to happen. So read the book, pay the $4.99 or $3.99, whatever it is for the Kindle, and read the book. And I'll sign it for free. Send it to me. I'll send it back.
Hear that? Mail Rob your Kindle and he'll sign it for you.
Exactly. Make sure you pay postage or else I'll keep it. Because I don't even have a Kindle.
Because he's a lawyer, and that's the type of thing he does.
Possession's 9/10. Well, as always, you're listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Stop in the...